Our little Acorn man finally has a name, so stick around until the end to find out who the winner is. Today's video has props and even some artificial intelligence. Now, I'm sure most of you know that tailors aboard have left the building. They did a great job of keeping us up to date with the breach in the Bridgewater Canal that happened on New Year's Day. Somebody commented on our video about the breach in the Bridgewater Canal that I was being Mr. Doom and Gloom and it was all sorted now. Well, I might be Mr. Doom and Gloom, but it's far from sorted. Peel Group, the company that owns the Bridgewater Canal, have put in some cofferdams, allowing the stranded boats to leave. So that gets the stranded boaters from keeping it in the media, but there's still the matter of that gaping hole. I don't think that's sorted yet.
I am sure that is not the end of that story. It's been less than 2 months, and well, we've got some great stories coming up. The story of the navigators, and that certainly ties into the Bridgewater Canal, doesn't it? And I have to go back behind the shed and get some wood, because I'm going to tell you the story of the navvies while I build a wooden wheelbarrow. And that gives me an opportunity to test out the cheapest wireless mic that money can buy. So this is a test of my 7-pound microphone, and it allows me to get farther away from the camera. I don't know how good the sound is going to be, but it allows me to move around a bit more. And I'm going back behind the shed here to get some wood that we had left over from bonfire night. And you see, this allows me to still talk to you, even though I'm whispering and I'm far away from the camera. And I'm just going to go back behind the shed here, get some wood left over from bonfire night. It's been out in the rain and everything. I need to get it dried out so I can work with it. So yeah, I'm going to build a wooden wheelbarrow. And while I build a wooden wheelbarrow, I'm going to tell you the story of the navvies. Because if you ever see a picture of a navvy, he'll usually have a wheelbarrow with him, because that's the tools of the trade, the pick and the shovel and the wheelbarrow and some bold dynamite. I was inspired to do this when I saw this photo of the sail station with the wooden wheelbarrow. I just love this photo. And I have an idea how I'm going to do this. The barrow part is easy. The barrow part is quite easy to do, but the wheel, making a wooden spoked wheel, is going to be a bit challenging with the tools I have, which is very few, but 'tis a poor fisherman blames the rod. So I got this stuff here that was out in the rain for months, and I'm going to put it in the shed to dry out, and we will make our wooden wheelbarrow while I tell you the story of the navvies. And I can use my microphone to do, that nonchalant walking past the camera shot.
So, along with my 7-pound microphone, one of the best things I've discovered recently is AI, artificial intelligence. And when you're making these little history videos, it's difficult to find images sometimes. So I'll go back to the canal video to illustrate my point. I showed this picture while talking about the navvies. They were bringing in all the soil, one wheelbarrow at a time. And some bright chap mocks me for showing a line of train wagons next to the navvies. Sorry, mate. That is what we call a representational photo. Those are navvies building the Manchester Ship Canal. And if you gave it the least bit of thought at all, you'd know that they didn't have cameras back in the 1760s, and nobody ever thought of painting a navvy with a wheelbarrow back in the day. They only did paintings of dukes and important people. Anyway, AI. Now, this is not an ad for AI, although I will gladly endorse it if someone wants to send me some money or, a box of beer and a pack of smokes or something. But AI gives us an opportunity to create historical videos. Check it out. Now, it's nowhere near that fast. That's the magic of editing. It often gets things really wrong and sometimes quite funny, but it can still be a usable video. It can take hours sometimes to make one of these, depending on how much traffic there is on the site. And then it might just be a rubbish video. I only have the free version, so I don't get the fast track option. But isn't it amazing? This video has a great little story attached to it. Well, let me tell you another story first. A little while ago, we hit 2,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. And we've just recently hit 3,000. So thank you again. And I like to think because of that, YouTube sent me this little play button. Now, they usually only send out play buttons when you reach 100,000 subscribers. Anyway, inside, it's full of M&Ms with little play buttons on them. So recently we were at a little get together and we started talking about the different candy bars that we grew up with. Now, as some of you know, I grew up on the east coast of Canada, a place called Newfoundland, and we were a self-governing dominion until 1949. We were very much like British citizens. We even had British passports. So by the time I came along, things hadn't changed a great deal, at least as far as candy bars go. We only had British sweets. We didn't have M&Ms. We had Smarties. Now, for any Americans watching, Smarties and M&Ms are pretty much the same thing. Some American guy saw British soldiers with them during the war, and he stole the idea and started making them in America. Now, a little aside on that front. When I looked that up, it showed these things. In America, this is what they think of as Smarties. And when I saw them, I said, those look like rockets. And indeed they are. They're not allowed to be called Smarties in Canada because these are Smarties. So in Canada, Smarties are called rockets. And Smarties, well, Smarties are called Smarties. It had to be the late 80s or early 90s before I saw an M&M. Nowadays, it's much like here. There are sweets from all over the world. I think you can even get avocados and pomegranates in Newfoundland nowadays. Now, unless you're from Newfoundland, you've never heard of this sweet. It's called a peanut butter kiss, and it's made by one of Newfoundland's oldest companies, and they make all kinds of edible treats. Whenever somebody from back home comes to visit, they always bring you some purity products and a tin of maple leaf Vienna sausages. Now, not what you think of as Vienna sausages. These things are the most disgustingly delicious things you've ever eaten. I have First Nation friends who like to brag about how they use every part of the animal. To which I say, you ever seen what's in a Vienna sausage? This is another purity product. They're called Jam Jams, one of my favorite double entendres. And you'll have to work out how to use that one on your own. They're moist, jam-filled cookies / biscuits. Now these are going on 8 months old. So let's have a go. Oh, not bad. Okay, now I'm sure the peanut butter kisses are still good. There's all different kinds of flavors of these now, but when I was a kid, there was only peanut butter kisses. Anyway, back to our AI video. 1997 was the Cabot 500 celebrations, celebrating 500 years since Newfoundland was discovered by John Cabot. Now, never mind, there were already people there, and the Vikings visited in the year 1000. The people of Bristol built a replica ship, the Matthew, the ship John Cabot sailed from Bristol to the New World. They recreated his voyage and arrived in Bonavista on the 24th of June, 1997, exactly 500 years after Cabot did it. Now you can still see the Matthew in Bristol Harbor today. It was a big deal in Canada, and the Queen was there to greet them. Now, it's not the first time or the second time, or even the third time for that matter, that the Queen was in Newfoundland. The first time she was there, she wasn't officially there. It was the first place that she set foot in North America. Back then, all airplanes had to stop in Gander, Newfoundland to refuel. The Queen was asleep inside the plane while it was refueling, and a bunch of rowdy Newfoundlanders awoke her, and she had to come out and greet them. But that's a story for another day. But on this visit back in 1997, before she attended the Cabot 500 celebrations in Bonavista, she went to see all the sights in St. John's, one of which was the Purity Factory. Now, the Purity Factory workers were in contract negotiations at the time, and they were about to go on strike, but good little former British citizens that we are, the strike was postponed for the Queen's visit. You've all seen these royal visits before, the Queen or one of them being forced to go to the cornflakes plant to keep the natives happy. Anyway, that's what this was. She was walking along the assembly line, and I guess she was curious or just doing the polite monarch thing, visiting the plant. So she stops to chat with one of the workers, and she asks him, "What do you make here?" And the worker replied, "$12.50 an hour, ma'am." I guess the contract negotiations were a little too fresh in his mind. It's a true story. Now, I don't know if it's a Mandela effect moment, but I swear I saw it on the news at the time. But I couldn't find any footage of it. And that's the problem with these moments from history. There's often no visual record of it, even something as recent as that. So I'll make good use of this AI in our videos, but it takes a long time to produce them. But there is a problem when you're trying to tell a story and you're trying to get your character to look the same from one scene to the next. But I found a way around it. Now, you may have seen our video about the Knutsford Highwayman, and I'll certainly be making use of AI in that one, or at least add some scenes to it. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned he created a ruse equal to the role played by Leonardo DiCaprio in Catch Me If You Can. This low-life criminal managed to insert himself into the high society of Cheshire, while at the same time he maintained his clandestine operations as a robber, a thief, and a murderer. This is the true story of the Knutsford Highwayman. And that got me thinking, I wonder if the AI knows who Leonardo DiCaprio is. Check it out. Now I can make the Knutsford Highwayman look the same from one scene to the next. I know I'm going to get a lot of questions asking, what movie is that from? But it's not a movie, it's AI. All of this was generated from words. This is a new frontier, and it's going to lead to a lot of copyright issues, I'm sure. I mean, who owns the likeness of Leonardo DiCaprio? Anyway, it's a lot of fun, but since I came up with that solution, the AI people have made an improvement. It's hard to keep up. You can now supply a reference photo. This is the one and only photo I have of a character in another story I'm working on. It's the true story of an execution that took place at Strangeways Prison in Manchester. In the photo, which is not very good, she's a young girl, but in the story she's a much older woman. Now check this out. It made her older and brought her to life. And there it is. It can't get it all right all the time. How many arms did she have, I wonder? Maybe the AI knows something we don't. It's all pretty freaky, isn't it? The holodeck doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore, does it? And here's one more bit of AI that I used to create our new mascot. But he doesn't have a name. Now I asked for your suggestions, and we have a winner. Drum roll, please. Meet Salix, our new mascot here at Wicked Acorn. There were some really great suggestions. Now I know Salix is the wrong type of tree for this dude, and I'm assuming he's a dude, you never know nowadays. But the last suggestion that came in was Little Dick, and that is fantastic. It's just too funny, but it's a little too on the nose. Old Cheshire Tup suggested Salix, and he or she must follow what we do here. And the rest of you that do will know the significance of Salix. And I like it. It has a sci-fi ring to it. Salix sounds like it could be one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And he looks it too. So congratulations to Old Cheshire Tup. I suppose I'm pronouncing that correctly. It sounds as made up as Salix. So Toad Cheshire Tup, drop me an email and I will send you out one of our Manchester Bee coasters. Now if you're bummed out because you didn't win, you can help support what we do here, and you can get these on our website, wickedacorn.com. And you can become a member of the Brew Crew, and you can get a Manchester Bee mug. And they come in all different colors, and you can even get your name put on it. All right, thanks everybody, and we'll see you in the next one.